If you see about, as I've already told you about the book that my novel focused on, that's on women trafficking. That was my first novel. And if I tell you about the collection of such stories, Rose's Odyssey, it captures the themes of economic and psychological hardships of men and women, uncertainty of future, how people think about the future, struggles of identity, being in the diaspora, living in different countries, realizations of minority status, as well as the quest for existence, and also like a deep connection to the past and the homeland as well. So in this sense, like I would say the stories my story collection covers the diverse social issues, social classes, settings, events, and characters.
Everyone, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. I have a great, interesting guest on the show today. Very prolific in writing and communicating and helping many people. You go to my guest's website, you're going to see this person is busy. This person does a lot of great things in the world. And Dr. Sangita is on the podcast. I'm so excited to have her on the show. And we're going to learn a lot. So Dr. Sangita, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dave. It's my pleasure. And it's a great honor for me to be in your show. Thank you for inviting.
So we talked before we record that you were happy to be here. I'm happy to have you here. When I go through your website, there are so many resources, and you are a very active person out there helping people and writing and sharing things in this world. I gotta know, how did this all start for you to use your words and write and help people? What was the origin? How did this all start for you?
Thank you. I have been writing since my childhood. Initially as a writer, writing the poetries or the articles. The same passion for writing drove me into the role of communication, because I wanted to write. I was looking for a role where I could write and use my skill as a writer as well, even though in different platforms. Because I completed my studies in PhD, and I did my PhD in environmental communication on the environmental media studies. But over the period, like when I was working in different organizations in Nepal and the UK, my role was in different communication role, like communication officer, manager, or coordinator, doing all sorts of communication, and we're writing and editing as the major part of my work. So I just love that, writing, bringing stories to the people in the field or in different areas. When I work in WWF in Nepal, I used to write stories from the different, people working in different forests, and the staff members working in different areas of wildlife conservation. That was a really exciting part. And also I work in UNDP, Lutheran World Federation, and different non-government organizations in Nepal. And after coming back here in the UK, I did my PhD. And this is another part of my writing, other than the literary writing. That's a creative writing. That's completely different. But that helped me a lot in working as the communication professional as well. And while working as a communication professional, that helped me in literary writing, because stories are always coming to me, and I'm always part of the real stories as well. At the same time, when I'm thinking and writing the fiction.
So how many books have you personally written or been a part of writing?
In total, it's 6.
6. Okay.
6, yeah. The first one I wrote was published when I was 18. And my first novel that was published in 18, which was recently republished and launched in London, but that has been appreciated by many critics and reviewers. The novel is about the female tolerance of pain and suffering, and love and sacrifice. It also highlights the issue of women trafficking in Nepal, and it is estimated that still now, in the current situation as well, around 5,000 to 10,000 women and girls are trafficked from Nepal to India for forced prostitution. So I still feel amazed that at the age of 18, I could highlight the issue of women trafficking in Nepal. And after many years, after almost three decades, that's been republished, and people are still liking the story inside this novel.
Wow. And that was your first official
Yeah,
book
that's
that
my
you wrote?
first.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And after that, one collection of short stories that was the joint or the five joint authors that was published in Nepali. That was in Nepali as well. And after then, I used to write short stories and getting published, and they used to get published in different journals or different websites, on newspapers, radio or television. But as a book, my collection of short stories was published 5 years back. And this book has recently been translated and published in English, called Rose's Odyssey.
Okay.
And I'm getting very good feedback for this book as well. Since the book was published in Nepali earlier, and that's been in many review in the media, that was reviewed by many reviewers in Nepal, and also from the journal writers, academics as well. So I got really good quotes and the review that I picked and put it in the book as well. And at the same time, that also helped. And this book has been recently launched in the UK, and I have been having lots of book signings. So at the moment, three or four book signings are in the pipeline, and I'm quite occupied with book signings and lots of media interviews. I recently had a couple of interviews on television and radio podcasts, and there are two more podcast interviews coming up as well. So I'm just trying to balance my work with interviews, events, and everything. Yeah. And I also write as the contributing author on Global Voices, that's published from the Netherlands. And I try to bring more of the literary interviews. I do interviews with the literary figures and try to bring Nepali literature to the forefront.
So we have listeners who are in or from Nepal who are listening to the show. And to have you on, I'm sure they would love to hear someone speak to them on an English-speaking podcast, to have someone come on and go and greet them and welcome them to the show. Would you care to do that? Can you say hello to people who are listening?
Yeah. In Nepali, we say namaste. I can say in Nepali, like if you are listening to the podcast, and I will be very thankful for listening in full and then sharing as well. I'll tell you in Nepali, right?
Yeah.
Namaste, सबैजनालाई. यदि तपाईहरु यो पोडकास्ट सुनिरहनु भएको छ भने म एकदमै खुसी छु र यसरी क्यानाडाको पोडकास्टमा आउनु पाउनु मेरो लागि र हामी नेपालीहरुको लागि नै एउटा गर्वको विषय हो, किनभने देवले ओभर 4000 भन्दा बढी पोडकास्टहरु चाहिँ प्रसारण गरिसकेको छ र हाम्रो लागि यो एकदम ठुलो गर्वको कुरा हो. I'm very thankful to Dev. What I said in Nepali is like, I'm not just me, like being a Nepali writer, also the Nepali literature lover will be very much thankful to you, being in this show with you, who have already published over 4,000 episodes of podcasts. So that's an honor for us, honor for me, bringing me here. And I hope like you'll be able to grab some other authors as well later on. I would love to work with you. Like I'm bringing other Nepali authors as well in the show, who can give more, like a glimpse from the Nepal as from the country, or from giving the different perspective as well.
It would be an honor to feature those amazing authors on the show.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to stay in touch and make that happen.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Excellent. So when you're writing, whether it's your reports and journals or books, you're writing for all these different things. What is your motivation in coming to this and to write? What is the big picture for you as an author, as a writer? Why are you doing this? You could be writing about anything, but you're writing about some very specific things. Why is this so important to you?
If you see about, I've already told you about the book that my novel focused on. That's on women trafficking. That was my first novel. And if I tell you about the collection of such stories, Rose's Odyssey, it captures the themes of economic and psychological hardships of men and women, uncertainty of future, how people think about the future, struggles of identity, being in the diaspora, living in different countries, realizations of minority status, as well as the quest for existence, and also like a deep connection to the past and the homeland as well. So in this sense, like I would say the stories my story collection covers the diverse social issues, social classes, settings, events, and characters. So this gives a glimpse of what I write as a fiction. And there's another novel, A Quest for Bonding, which is coming up most probably into 2024. It's all done, finalized, and I'm working on a little bit final bits, final proofreading and editing part. So that brings the issue of that's the women fiction again, and that brings the issue of the women's body image, psychological aspect of women, and this self-reflection, self-existence, a comparison of women to women, jealousy, and all those kind of the women psychology. It's got like women's health issues as well. It covers. So as you asked me the question, why I write as a writer, generally all the writers they observe the scenes around them, and they try to bring in a fiction, like we try to bring the social issues in a way, in a different way, we add some of the fictitious characters, or it doesn't mean that it's completely fictitious all the time. So that carries the different parts of the real characters as well, different points and parts of different real characters, but we add some our imagination and then bring into a different character or different personality. So anyway, all of the writers who try to write the serious things, they are motivated to give the awareness of the issue, or try to change, or at least make aware to the readers what's happening. It's a kind of I would say as we say, literature is the mirror of the society. I believe in that, and it's a reflection. If you read these stories of the Roses of Red Sea in my book, you may get a new flavor of how the Nepalese people in different diaspora, like in Australia or in the UK diaspora or in Nepal live, or what's their mentality, what's their thinking, how they suffer, what's their vision of life, how they react to the life. Because somebody who are completely aware of the Nepalese people can get the idea of how Nepali people think, how Nepali people live, their culture, all those kind of things. So being a Nepali writer, I try to bring Nepali flavor in my writing. Obviously, that comes naturally to me. But at the same time, being here in the UK, and I studied in Australia, wrote the stories about Australian backdrop. In this sense, they are the characters, the Australian characters, British characters, that they come together with the Nepali characters. So that gives the hint and the glimpse of how the Nepali characters gel into, different lives in the society.
How has the response been to some of your work? Have you had some unique opportunities as a writer to increase your audience and community by someone maybe in the news or on television or something hearing about you and your work and then inviting you to be a part of something?
Quite a lot, actually. Yeah. I've been very lucky and very fortunate. As today, you gave me this opportunity. I'm sure God has been very much kind to me because you gave me this opportunity. Similarly, there are two other podcasts coming up. Another one is also from Canada, and one is from the USA. Last month, I had one podcast from the American podcaster and a writer. So I had interview with her. So I talk about everything about my novels. She was so much interested to know about the novel. Most of the talk was a novel, my first novel. And before that, I got the opportunity to have my interview done in the UK television. And I was interviewed by Ian Turner. He's the international TV broadcaster and the royal broadcaster in the UK. And that television is broadcasted in the UK, Europe, Canada, and USA, reaching almost to the billion people. So I can't ask more than this at the moment. Being, a writer who is trying to establish in this world, in the external world, I would say, even though some people know me in Nepal, for getting established or being in here, and then trying to pull Nepali literature or my own book in this world, in the external world, is quite not easy. Right. But at the same time, I'm getting so much of attention and opportunity, and that's done. That television program was done. And when I was having this television program, being interviewed in the television program, I also talk about my work since I work in the International Development Organization as the communications manager. The organization works in Africa and Asia in the women's literacy and empowerment. So we have been working over 50 years. Our organization have been working over 50 years in Asia and Africa, bringing women who are particularly struggling, if without the education and the literacy knowledge. So this organization is helping those women with the trainings and providing the resources to come over those struggles and hardships. So when I was talking about this thing, the television interviewer, Yan, was very much interested to know about my work as well. So, and she invited me in another episode after a month to talk about my work. And also at the same time, he asked me to get the book again so that he can talk about a little bit about the reflection from the past interview as well. So 2 times in this LB UK television. So I've been very fortunate. And after that, I'm having series of book signings. I need to tell you, my book was launched in Universal Peace Federation. Before that, I would say like a little bit background, like how I was invited to, how I was given this opportunity to launch my book at the Universal Peace Federation. My work and my literature, I don't know like how it's been complementing each other. I have been very, very lucky because as I have told you, I have been working in the international development sector for over 15 years, both in Nepal and the UK. I work as a communication professional and I'm working with the different international organizations focusing in South Asia or Africa particularly, but working around the world. So with this, my contribution in the international development sector was recognized by Universal Peace Federation in December, and I was given the Ambassador for Peace Award.
Wow.
So and this when I got this award, like lots of news media covered this news as well, and the Nepalese, like my friends, my colleagues, and everybody were very happy for me, and I've been also like felicitated for getting the award by different literary organizations in the UK. So I'm very much thankful to everybody on that. So having this award for my work, and when I got introduced and then started going to, because Ambassador of Peace Award is not the organization. Universal Peace Federation is the international organization that is this organization exists around the world, and this is the part of the UN social this organization looks after the UN social United Nations social and economic aspect as the consulting organization. So it's a huge organization actually worldwide. So being recognized by such a great organization, and also like when I got the Ambassador for Peace Award, being the awardee and also the given the title of Ambassador of Peace, I was introduced with other Ambassador of Peace and then given more opportunity to be involved with their work and getting invited in their activities. Attending different events and programs. So when I told like I'm a writer as well and I write book, and I've got my story collection coming up, and I asked if it's possible to do the book launch there. So they were very much happy and they supported me. So with the work, I got the award. With the award, I got this book launch at the Universal Peace Federation. And the Universal Peace Federation not just ended in the book launch. So 3 days I had the book signings. And in the Universal Peace Federation, like they have lots of, people around the world coming and attending meetings and conferences. So there were like lots of visitors coming, and many people bought my book in 3 days of book signing. So when I had this book signing, I posted in the social media, many of the organizations, and they, called me up for the book signings and organized few events. So likewise, it's a series of like one or the other thing complementing my work as with the television interview as well. Like when I was talking about the book, and I talk about my work, and I was again interviewed for my work as well. So it's like it both working together at the same time. I've been very fortunate. I just feel like and I'm having like a couple of other book signings as well coming up. So I'm quite excited for that.
When you look back at your first writing, your first book, to today, there's a lot of growth that happens as a writer from your very beginning to your current spot where you are now. How are you a different person over the years? And as you continue to write, you write a lot. How are you a
Actually,
different person?
yeah, I need to tell you, like, it's not continuous. Actually, I got my novel published when I was 18, and a
Yeah.
couple of years I wrote. And after 3 years, around 3 or 4 years, I was writing. I've started writing in a couple of newspapers, writing columns. When my novel was first published in Nepal, I got interviewed by different media, and it was all over the media, and that was an instant hit as well at that time. So I was quite young as well, and the book was launched by the prominent figures, political figure, Ganesh Man Singh, uh, and because of that as well, that book got coverage, and I started getting the interviews, and when I got the interviews and for the book, then I also got at the same time, like I also got some offers to write in the newspapers. Then I started as a freelance journalist. So in 1819, like I was kind of writing in 3 4 newspapers or magazines, and then 2 3 years I was working and studying. I mean, like writing as a freelancer and then studying as well. And then I got the opportunity to study in Australia. So when I was in Australia, it got like I was completely doing the different course. I was doing the software development course, IT course. So it's completely kind of away from like platforms like those days. Like there were no digital kind of thing, and then like articles, and so that I could have continued. I used to have the articles printed in the newspapers. So that facility was not there. So I was completely out of touch kind of thing. But I still wrote some stories when I was in Australia. But that got back when I got back, and then that those were published in Nepal later on. But like it slowed down, and then I started my degree I did my master's degree, and when I was studying and everything, like it slowed down. My writing slowed down, and one of the reasons why I couldn't focus on writing, I was focusing on this one. My other career as a career was like in Nepal. They were like it was not easy for the writers to make a living, and even now, like the situation is not very much different, like in the America or Canada or in the developed world, where writers are like could make the living, and also like they are sort of, I mean, like they can earn lots, right? But in Nepali, it's growing. In Nepali literary market, there are like a number of good writers who can do who are doing very well as well. But that time, my small brain, like I was just 18, 19. So I just thought like maybe it would be very difficult for me to make a career, writing as a career. And since I was a science student and I was planning to do the medicine and all, but I didn't do that. But I went to IT course. I thought like that would give me more potential for getting brighter future. I'm like going to the better jobs, and that's how like it slowed down. But at the same time, like, I was working in international organization, and I did my masters, and I was very studious as well at the same time. I mean, I took studies quite seriously, and I did my masters, and I also got the gold medal for my master's degree from the king actually, because I got the highest score in the country. So
Wow.
yeah, the so I mean that kind of tells, right? Like I was more focusing on my studies than other things. So one at a time, like I was not a person like I could juggle. I mean, I juggle in different places. So when I'm in one place, I just try to focus on studies. And after studies, then I immediately got the job because I mean, like the research I was doing was in the uh, women women of domestic violence, and I got the job in the non-government organization that works in the women issues, right? So rehabilitation center. So that's how one after the other. Then after working a year and a half, I got the opportunity to work in larger international organizations. So I took the job. So that's kind of like I working there. Then I got the job in the UNDP, United Nations office. So like I was like more focusing on my career. Then I had I mean, I got married and I had child. So in that the whole lot of my other aspect of the social life and my work, literature got sidelined, and I feel very sad reflecting back because I feel that I shouldn't have done that, and there were no one like for me as well. I shouldn't be blaming anyone, but I didn't have the idea like after leaving literature or writing, I would suffer this much when I wanted to come back. when I wanted to come back, and then I was kind of, I didn't know where I was because I left around 10 to 12 years of write. I didn't write. I was completely out of touch with any literary books coming out, or like completely working. And then like I just tried to forget everything. I just wanted to focus on my work and my family. And I thought like that would help me, because if I uh, like, and I thought like maybe when I retire, I will start writing again. That was my kind of mentality. But somehow, like when it was around 5 years back, like I just thought like seeing my friends or like other contemporary writers writing and publishing books, and I just thought my daughter was a little grown up that time, like she was around 13, 12, 13 already, 30 already. And I just thought, okay, like now, like I don't need to spend more time on her as well. She's grown up. And then like my work is going smoothly in the UK as well, in here. So I thought to come back to the writing, but when I tried to come back, I struggled a lot. I struggled even reading Nepali properly, because I was completely writing in English all the time. I kind of forgot. I did forget, but when I was reading, when I used to read Nepali, I used to struggle, kind of not struggling, but I didn't used to feel comfortable, like as comfortable as reading English. So I thought, like, if I need to write back, then I need to get back to this one. Then instead of reading the English newspapers that is online in Nepal, to get the updates from Nepal related issues and Nepal, I started reading Nepali newspapers and Nepali books. Again, like brought some Nepali literary books and the ones I already had. And also to get back to my writing, the first thing what I did was I read my own novel first, and I cried a lot because I thought I wouldn't be able to write that, even though I wrote in, like I was in 18. I thought like I would never be able to write even that book in my life in that particular time, like 5-7 years back. And that was a very emotional moment for me. Like I thought like I would slowly, then everything I built up from scratch. It was like completely new person I was. I needed to build up, just like thinking, going back to my writing career earlier in my, young days. I used to think, oh, I used to write. That means like I'll be able to get back to the writing because I was a writer. I may be able to write again. So those kind of things, I needed to convince myself, like that was pathetic at that time. I needed to continuously convince myself, like, okay, I'll be able to write. I mean, so what I did was like, I compiled some of the stories that's already published. And then I wrote a few new ones. And when I started writing, it just came up. I thought like, oh, I still can write. So that's how like I was again convinced myself, and I felt confident. And compiling all the stories, then I brought the collection of short stories that was in Nepali. And there's another side of me was like, I used to write in Nepali, right, earlier. And literature, I was confident, like I could write. But at the same time, like I wanted to write in English as well. So I was not very comfortable. Even though like I write in English all the time, because most of my work is writing blogs and articles, editing and everything. But writing literary, like the novel or book on my own was something like I used to dream, like, will I be able to? So I just thought like, let me try. And then I tried one story and I got the feedback, and it was published in a compilation of short stories. I was quite confident. I felt like, oh, that I could write this one. So writing a novel is just like extending that story. So when I could write one story, then I could write the novel as well. So yeah, and then the novel is now all set and ready. So that's how it's a gradual process actually. No one is perfect. I'm learning by doing, and I'm learning by reading. And I still now, like in the daytime, like I had one webinar. I attended one webinar. When you have a dream, like you chase that, right? So I'm just doing that. I just feel like one day I'll be able to have this novel published by a very decent or good publisher in the world. If anyone publisher listening to me and would like to publish my book, I would love to give my synopsis and like my part of my novel as well. I also had last week I attended the Writers Festival in London, and I got the feedback on my novel by an agent, and I got a very good feedback, and I'm quite confident now. I mean, like, I'm getting confident on my own with the novel as well. I got the feedback from the other beta readers as well as the editors, the British editors. So getting a very good feedback for my report for my novel. I'm having a dream like it's growing. Kind of.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I love hearing the story of an author and how they're growing and how they're using their words. When my children were little, I would say to them, use your words, because they're little and they don't know how to explain things and they're frustrated. I would just say, use your words. Tell me what you want. Like, how can I help you? And I think as adults and as writers, we need to use our words and use them to help people like you do. You're putting a light on situations where people's lives are in jeopardy and people are being hurt, and you're bringing that story out so people are more aware. So we can use our words and make a big impact in the world just by writing. So I love what you do, just for that sake alone.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah, thank you for giving so much of encouragement. Yeah.
Great. So I would love for you to encourage the listeners of the podcast. We have people who listen to this show and they are new authors. They're just starting. They're back to you when you were 18, right? They're just learning how to write. They have a lot to learn. You've written a lot. You have a lot of experience. For that young author that's listening, what would you say to them if you could imagine yourself again at 18, knowing now what you know? If you could talk to yourself at 18, what kind of words of encouragement would you have for yourself or another author that's starting?
Yeah, I mean, like, I would say, like, yeah, I won't say like I was not lucky, because I had a very supportive parents, but in my home, like, no one was a writer. No one was able to guide me as a writer, to guide me as a writer, how to go into the writing world or anything like that. The only thing I liked was I was quite quiet child. I mean, like, I used to sit in a, like a corner, and then I used to love writing. But the concept of the novel, it was not like I thought like I would write a novel. I first started as a story and then started developing, extending. And when my dad saw me, how this story is growing, and he just suggested me, you extend this, and then like, you looks like you have a potential, extend this and we will publish, because dad didn't know any publisher as well, and I was quite young, and who's going to launch the young unknown author, right? Like, no one will do that, and we had no connection with anyone. So my dad, actually, I didn't take it that seriously when my dad published my novel that time. Oh, that's my dad, so that's his responsibility, kind of thing. Like, I had that feeling. But now I feel so much grateful with my dad. Like, that wouldn't have been possible without his support that time. But having said that, now at this moment, at this time, it's so much easier getting any information in the internet, like finding the publisher or approaching anything. We just need to have passion and drive. You are saying to me that I'm experienced, but I feel I'm still the same person, like back then. Maybe like I've built up a little bit profile, but for my novel, I'm just approaching like different agents, and then like I'm not thinking that, oh, I have already published 5 books or 4 books or something, like, or I'm the editor for this novel, this book, or something like that. But trying my own, like finding my ways, like where I could be fit. Like, maybe there is a place in this world where I can fit, or my novel can fit, and then set myself as the, like, author. I'm an author, but my dream is, I mean, like, a bit established author, like who people can recognize through my novel, right? Obviously, like, I'm quite lucky with my story collection, Rose's Odyssey, because the 2 other books published were in Nepali, and the short story collections and other 2 books that's published was the edited ones, that like, everyone's there. So that my role was like having some portion editing, and also like I had contributed articles as well. But the short story collection, I had very good response. I'm quite positive, and it's going quite nicely. But at the same time, I'm hoping for my novel also land in a very proper house or place, so that like it gets the recognition it deserves, maybe, because having the feedback from the editors and the beta readers, I'm just having a little bit of hope, or a dream, so a small dream, to be landing into a good publishing house. So we never should be, we should always be dreaming, and never be put off by the rejections or anything like that, because everyone finds a place. Even like published and very popular authors have found they have dealt with the rejection. So I read those kind of things, and then like I just feel inspired by that. So keep trying and just keep writing. But whether you publish or not, just keep writing. That's what I think one should be doing. And at the same time, like building the profile. Nowadays, like we have the social media. It's competitive, but at the same time, like we have the opportunity to reach to the different people, follow the publishers, follow the authors who you like. And also I do the same thing. Like I'm also building the profile, even though I was born quite earlier, but I'm just like the 18, 20 years old writer, right? I'm trying to make my own way, and also like building the social media profile and like a media profile. So like I'm maybe like a little bit having the profile, but it's nothing different than the young writers who are trying their way out as well. So one should be right. And the other thing, like never stop reading. Like reading is the most important thing. You need to know like where you are going, and at the same time, like read the different culture, read stories from different continents. Like after reading, only you come to know like what is going on in the world. What I'm trying at the moment is like I try to read. I pick deliberately the male author, female author, so that I know like how they write, just to have my own idea as well. And also like when I'm picking like some from China, some from Australia, some author from different continents to get the test up. We can't read everybody, but some author from Africa, like at least some recognized books or the award-winning books, or that gives so much of confidence. Like, okay, I've read this, I've read that. So what is there in the world? What's going on there? And that's to read your contemporary writers, and also read the young ones. You are young, and then it's important like what the young authors are writing. So and also like keep an eye on social media, what's coming up, all the opportunities. Like there may be lots of opportunities, and there are like many advertisements of the novel signing up, or there are some like submissions opening up. So we need to be active, and eyes should be vigilant and looking for like what's in there. So yeah, these are the suggestions. These are quite common as well. So at the same time, what I'm doing, I'm sharing what I'm doing.
Yeah. So you're taking us along with you as you write. Yeah.
At the same time, like, I would also like to share, like, it seems how like being active on the Twitter, like now X. I used to see like lots of like one of the organizations I followed, and I used to see Global Literature Organization I followed, and I used to see lots of literature months being organized. Like, coming up and being organized by that organization. So I just contacted the organization. Like I'm from Nepal, and the Nepali literature is like there are lots of good Nepali literature stories, but it's not coming up into the mainstream, or it's not coming into the external world as much as we wanted. So can we have some kind of literature month on Nepal? And the editor was quite happy for getting me contacted. And then she asked me to send my profile, and I said that I'm a communicator. I write different blogs. So I sent all my details, my CV and everything. And she said to me, like, we have the slot either next month or after around 10 months back. So all the in between were filled in. So I was quite scared, like, how do I do the next month? Because then after a month, and I had to fulfill the whole month of slot. Like every day I need to publish something. And
wow,
it was not like I had so much of contact with all the authors in Nepal. I had a couple of them, but I had no confidence. Not like now. Now I have lots of contacts, right? 5 years back, I didn't have many contacts. So I was kind of scared, like whether I will be fulfilled or like I would be able to do or not. Then and there was a challenge whether I should be doing, and I had also doubt, like if I say like I will be doing a 9 months time, I may miss this opportunity. This lady, the editor may say like, oh, that's not happening, or like this organization may do something else. I had this dilemma in my mind, and I thought, let me grab this opportunity. Whatever happens, I'll try my best. I'll do my best. So I said, like, even though it was difficult for me, I said, like, okay, I'll do the after month one, like the one coming up. It was a very challenging time for me. And I had to take almost 20 days of day off from my office because I couldn't handle, I was not able to handle otherwise. But I thought like it's a great opportunity for Nepal, bringing Nepali literature out. And at the same time, like getting the experience with the organization that works for the global literature. And that went really well. And now the editor, and I got so well with the editor, we jointly published the book, and that came as the Himalayan Sunrise. So it wouldn't have been possible like if I have not, like tried and contacted this organization. So I feel like very thankful. So we need to look for the opportunities. And at the same time, like I would also like to mention about my next edited book that I published.
Yeah.
That also got into the course book for the University of California in Irvine. So if we have the book or the literature, people or the organizations, they are also looking for the, like new books or new kind of literature. So having this literary book that has got the stories from 7 different writers, 14 writers from 7 different countries. And it got the stories from Africa, it got the stories from Europe, Asia. So this anthology offers the readers opportunity to explore and experience the culturally diverse creative ethos in a single textual space. That's what one of the the review of this book saying. So so we need to keep on working and keep on working towards what we want to achieve. That's what I want to say.
That's very inspiring to hear you talk like this and share your story. And I'm hoping that people who are listening will also feel inspired to start or continue to write and, again, to use their words.
Yeah, the one thing I would say to the youngsters who write and don't, the suggestion I want to give is don't stop writing like I did, and I regret it a lot because if sometimes I just want to go back to that period where I left, and then like I want to continue. If I could revert that period back, I would continue writing. So those kind of things I feel regret, but it's never too late, isn't it? Like
right.
Okay, that's done. That's the part of the thing. Like I didn't realize that earlier, or I missed maybe like something nice or something good coming to me as happening at the moment. Like there are lots of unexpected things and coming up, like this podcast, lots of media coverage, other coverages, and also like book signings, many of the people's support giving to me. So all this may come, but yeah, this is the destiny I had. But if I were as a young person, if I'm in that age, then I wouldn't stop writing. We may in our life, like with job or with family, it may decrease, but not to completely lose that track. Like when I lost the track, I lost colleagues, I lost contemporary writers, coordination, trust from people, trust from publisher, trust from media. I lost everything. Then I had to find myself from the scratch, going back to that. And then I had to cry reading my own novel. So that was my situation. So you can imagine like how much confidence I lost, and then gaining the momentum back was important for me. Yes, that's the only suggestion I have. Never stop writing. If you're a writer, the thing is, like, if you're a writer, I realized that I thought like the writer inside me died, but it never died. It never died. I thought that it died and it would never come back. Like I was least bothered, but later on it started bothering me, like, okay, come on, like write kind of thing, like why I'm not writing, why it's not happening. The most important thing when I it's kind of strange, but like a couple of years back, I started doing meditation and all, and like with the deep thinking, like doing the meditation, and I kind of like slowly getting the confidence or the chill of like feeling of that. Okay, that might be something like I need to do is writing. I done this, I did that. I'm good. I'm happy with my career. I have a family. I'm happy. Now what else? What is not what I want, kind of thing. So yeah, it's a kind of um, bit of meditation also helped me calm down the like the turbulence inside me that was bothering me, not writing or the confidence, the lost confidence, gaining the goal, because I could never compete with my contemporary writers back then, right? Because they had 8, 10 publications at least. Like many writers, many of my friends had colleagues, contemporary writers in Nepal had lots of books and publications. So I could never compete with them. I mean, like that time, 5 years back, I used to think like, but I had to accept myself because I can't go back to thinking like, oh, I was a novelist when I was 18. Rather than that, I forgot that chapter. And then I started thinking, okay, I'm a complete new person now.
Yeah.
I felt like I'm given, and there was a birth of a new person, but I just had some kind of reflection or some kind of experience that anyone can get from the, like from media, from other people hearing. I just had my personal experience, but I just took it as a base, but I started building up slowly.
It's great. Dr. Sangita, as far as where we can get your information, again, I have your website up as we're talking. It's a beautiful website. A lot of great information here. We'll put links in the show notes for people to go there. But where do we go to connect with you? Can you tell us about your website quick as we kind of wrap up here at the end?
Yeah, my address of my website is www.sangitaswechcha.com. It's sangitaswechcha.com. That comes from my name. And I still need to update a couple of things because lots of things happening and I haven't been able to update, but there are quite a lot of still resources there. And people can connect with me on my Facebook as well. It's facebook.com/Sangisthrestha. It's SANGYSHRESTHA. Or I'm also on X, Twitter X. And if anyone wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, can search me with my name, Sangita Swechcha. There I name my official name, but as a writer, I use my pen name, Sangita Swechcha. So don't confuse with that. Or you can Google me. Like there are like lots of like information you can get. Yeah, I'm on Wiki as well. Yeah.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. And I am looking forward to speaking to more Nepali authors and have them come onto the show. So that's going to be a great connection between the two of us.
That's very lovely.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll feature more authors. So
yeah, thank you.
It's great having you here. You have so much wisdom and knowledge. I know you're like,
thank you so much.
You do. You have a lot of wisdom and knowledge, and you help a lot of people. So thank you. I would love to talk about
other things as well. And when my new novel comes, I would love to come back to you.
Oh, for sure.
Giving a very good news of, my novel is coming. And then I want to come to your show.
For sure. I will keep the door open. You have to come back in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dave. It's a very, very good opportunity for me. I'm very much thankful to you.
Excellent. And thank you for being a part of this, everyone. All the information, as always, it's in the show notes. I would love for you to reach out to our guests and follow their journey and purchase the books, leave great reviews. There's a lot of great information here for you, and I'd love for you to go check it out. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast. So glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the listeners as well.
Hey, thanks for listening to Living the Next Chapter. I'm glad you stayed all the way to the end. You're my new bestie. And the one thing I like to do with my besties is enjoy time together over a cup of coffee. Now, one thing missing in the equation is my coffee cup is empty. And what I would love if, after 390 plus episodes roughly, if you found any value in the podcast and you want to say, hey, Dave, do you need a refill of your coffee cup? I'm looking at it right now, and you know what? It's looking kind of sad. There's not much in the coffee cup. If you want to help support the podcast, I would love you forever as besties and celebrate coffee with you. You can celebrate and support the show at our website using our Buy Me a Coffee link. And all the money goes back into the podcast. And we also like to give it to other podcasters. So if you want to support the show, head over to livingthenextchapter.com and let's top it up. Thank you guys. Thanks for listening. Cheers.